Did you know your fat cells actually remember being fat? This is why so many people regain weight after dieting even, when they re-eating clean and working out. Scientists at Stanford call this the fat memory effect. It's one of the most frustrating reasons people feel stuck in the yo-yo cycle. Today, I'm going to break down exactly how this fat memory works, why it makes losing weight harder the second or third time around, and most importantly, how you can erase it so your fat cells finally start letting go for good. Now, I'm not a doctor. This is educational content built from published research and expert opinions. You'll find the sources in the description. Before we dive in, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment with how many times you've lost weight and gained it back. Once, twice, more than 5 times? Let me know below. Why fat cells remember? Here's the shocking part. Once a fat cell exists in your body, it almost never goes away. Dieting doesn't destroy fat cells, it just shrinks them. But the cell itself is still sitting there, waiting to refill. Think of fat cells like balloons. When you gain weight, the balloons inflate. When you diet, they deflate. But the balloon never disappears. Here's the catch. Those deflated fat cells actually send stronger hunger signals, release stress hormones, and prime your metabolism to refill them as quickly as possible. That's the memory. Your body doesn't want to go back to where you were lean. It wants to protect the bigger size it once carried, in case food becomes scarce again. From a survival perspective, this makes sense. But in today's world, with food everywhere, it traps people in a cycle of weight regain. The science behind the fat memory effect, researchers at Stanford, Harvard, and other top universities have shown that fat cells don't just store calories, they rehormonally active. They release signals like leptin, adiponectin, and inflammatory molecules that talk to your brain, your gut, and even your muscles. When you lose weight, leptin levels drop, which increases appetite. Your thyroid hormones adjust downward, slowing metabolism. And stress hormones like cortisol rise, making you crave comfort foods. But here's where it gets worse. The more times you've dieted and regained, the more primed your fat cells become to resist shrinking. Animal studies show that fat cells develop epigenetic marks, basically chemical memory tags that make them more efficient at storing fat the next time around. That means yo-yo dieting literally programs your body to regain faster. This is why so many people say, the first time I lost 20 pounds, it felt easy. The second time, I couldn't get it off no matter what. It's not in your head, it's in your cells. Why diets alone don't fix it? Here's the problem. Most diets only focus on calories. Eat less, lose weight. And yes, that works temporarily, but it doesn't change the biology of fat memory. So when the diet ends, your fat cells are still screaming to be refilled. This is why calorie restriction without addressing hormones almost always backfires. You can lose 10, 20, even 50 pounds, but if the fat cells are still hungry balloons, they'll drive you to overeat and regain. That's why you see so many people bouncing from keto to intermittent fasting to low-fat to carnivore. The method doesn't matter if the underlying fat cell memory isn't addressed. So how do you erase fat memory? The good news? You can. You may not be able to kill fat cells outright, but you can retrain them. The key is to combine nutrition, timing, exercise, and hormone-friendly foods in a way that flips your metabolism into fat burning mode consistently enough that the cells stop fighting back. Here are the 4 biggest levers science shows can help. 1. Lower insulin consistently. Insulin is the storage hormone. If insulin is high, your fat cells are locked. Could be in a calorie deficit and still not burn much fat. That's why strategies like intermittent fasting, carb sequencing, or simply cutting back on ultra-processed carbs work so well. They give insulin a chance to drop, which signals fat cells to release energy. Think of it like this. You can drain a tank while the faucet is still running. Lowering insulin turns off the faucet so fat cells can start emptying. 2. Strength training. Here is something most people don't realize. Muscle mass is the most powerful weapon against fat memory. Muscle tissue is incinerative, which means it acts like a sponge, pulling in glucose and nutrients instead of letting them get stored in fat. Every time you lift weights, you're not just burning calories, you're literally retraining your metabolism to prioritize muscle over fat. Over weeks and months, this takes pressure off fat cells and forces them to give up their stored energy. And unlike endless cardio, strength training builds a lasting metabolic engine. More muscle equals a higher resting burn rate, even when you're not working out. 3. Brown fat activation. Not all fat is bad. You have two main types: white fat, which stores energy, and brown fat, which burns energy to produce heat. Brown fat can help chip away at the memory effect by making your body less efficient at storing. It can activate brown fat with cold exposure, like cooler sleep environments, or even cold showers, certain compounds in foods like green tea and omega-3 south, and consistent exercise. This ISNT Magic Hit 1T erase fat overnight, but it creates a metabolic environment where fat cells lose their advantage. For satiety levers, finally, you need to blunt the hunger drive that fat cells create when they shrink. That means prioritizing foods that trigger satiety hormones like GLP-1 and PYY. These include protein-first meals, viscous fiber from things like beans, oats, and chia, and healthy fats like avocado or olive oil. When you stack your meals around protein plus fiber plus fat, you calm the constant refill me signals from fat cells. Over time, this retrains your appetite set point. Common objections now. I know what you might be thinking. What if I've already yo-yo dieted 5 times? Am I doomed? No, it might be harder, but your fat cells are not destiny. With consistent insulin-lowering strategies, strength training, and satiety-focused eating, you can still retrain them. Do fat cells ever actually die? Rarely, but yes. Through a natural process called apoptosis, a small percentage of fat cells die each year. The problem is, your body can make new ones if you overeat long enough. That's why prevention and retraining are more realistic than hoping to kill them off. Does liposuction fix this? Liposuction removes fat cells from specific areas, but it doesn't change the biology of the remaining cells. In fact, studies show fat often comes back in other areas of the body after liposuction if habits don't change. The 7-day fat memory reset. Here's a simple 1-week plan to start breaking fat memory right now. Day 1. Do a 16-hour fast. Keep it simple. Skip breakfast. Eat lunch and dinner with protein-first meals. This lowers insulin and signals fat cells to release. Day 2. Strength train full body. Focus on big lifts, squats, presses, rows. Day 3. Go for a 10-minute walk after each meal. This improves insulin sensitivity and glucose handling. Day 4. Add a brown fat activator. Sleep in a cooler room or finish your shower with 30 seconds of cold water. Day 5. Make one meal fully plant-based with beans, lentils, or chickpeas for viscous fiber and satiety. Day 6. Prioritize protein all day. Aim for 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. Day 7. Combine them all. Fast 14 to 16 hours. Lift weights, eat protein plus fiber first, and go for a walk after dinner. Repeat weekly, and you'll notice cravings calm down, energy stabilizes. Fat loss feels easier because your cells are finally cooperating. Recap, so here's the truth. Your fat cells really do remember being fat. That's why losing weight gets harder after yo-yo dieting, but you're not doomed. By lowering insulin, building muscle, activating brown fat, and eating for satiety, you can retrain those cells to finally let go. If this video helped you, smash that like button. Subscribe for more science-backed fat loss strategies, and drop a comment with how many times you've yo-yo dieted. I promise you, you're not alone, and you can break the cycle.